Your connection's terrible, Cody. That's all I'm gonna say.
Is it me or is it you?
It's totally you.
Just like it was. Whose microphone was it? Yours.
I don't know what you're talking about. Clearly, my microphone's fine. It's fine.
Take some accountability in your life.
It's fine. No, fuck accountability. Nobody else takes accountability. Why should I?
Whoa.
You got.
There's that feistiness you talked about.
That's what I mean.
And,
got a
and
whole
this is why you have so many problems on all your teams.
Not kids, adults. Not even kids. Like the kids are like the mature ones, but the whiny ass adults that play disc golf, grow the fuck up. That's all I have to say.
I teach kids. Kids are not the problem. It's their parents.
No. Yeah, and we play with their parents. And the parents are whiny little bees.
Paige is he's having a night, everyone. He's having a night.
He's not happy tonight. I mean, it's not gonna be much different. He's gonna yell at someone, probably me, probably Josh.
No,
it's gonna be the same as most other nights.
You're gonna see a different side of Paige, guys. I'm just going to be strictly business.
100%.
So what is up, everyone? Welcome to
No. So what is
up, everyone?
I always like it when me and Josh or someone else is talking. It just out of nowhere. What is up?
So what is up, everyone? Welcome to Jammers in the Rough. We got an amazing episode today. We are continuing to work on our new format and figure out, when Manny is going to be here. He was supposed to be here today, but that's going to be next week, so that you have to look forward to. As always, we have our amazing host, Josh, the Hops Winter. We got Cody, the absolute worst, Waldron, and of course, Paige. Just happy to be here.
Emo Paige.
Just happy to be here.
Emo Hurtado.
I can't remember what my nickname was last week, but it was a good one, and so I already slipped it.
Paige is so rage.
Yeah, there you go. Paige is the rage. So
brush your hair over your eye.
I was saying my hair's starting to grow out, guys. Check it out. I got this little poof.
Oh man,
it's like that little it's a wave.
Oh, it's a mess. I need to get a haircut, and a shave. But I will tell you, my first A tier of the season is here. I got my practice round in today. It's at Pioneer Open. It was one of those courses I did have a good round
with Jace
last year. With Jace, yep. Albatross Disc. So a little shout out to Jace. He got out there. I was hoping there'd be a little bit of update on the course. So there was one negative feedback on the course last year, and that was there was a little bit of redundancy in some of the shot shapes, where there was like 5 or 6 of the kind of the same kind of mirrored left to right, 380 to 400 type shots. And so we was hoping to see some change on that. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So it kind of feels like that little sucker punch. You know what I mean? Like get to the course, excited to play it after a year because it's a temp course on a golf course, and so. You get there, and then you get in that stretch, and it's this middle stretch, right? You get the birdie kind of beginning, and you hit this middle stretch where it's just a lot of these left to right moving shots, and it kind of just sucks the fun out of it. And then you get the back stretch, which kind of tries to get you to bite off more than you might be capable of, and then you take some OB strokes. So it's like start off strong, kind of lull, and then finish on a strong backside. So
is this why you're so sad?
No, this isn't why. I think kayak 100%. No. Kayak versus Horning hideout. I think this is a really good question. I think Hornings wins. I think Hornings has good elevation, challenging tracks with multiple layouts within them. I think Kayak Point is a good practice facility and good facility for that. But if you're trying to bring your 4-year-old, not your 4-year-old, but maybe your 8 to 9-year-old out there, I don't know if Kayak Point will have as much fun with them. Whereas like Hornings with Highlands, they're going to have a blast. You're going to be hiking and it's going to feel like a disc golf trip for them. So, but I'm also partial bias. I didn't like Kayak Point as much as I like Hornings hideout in regards to the pro layout, the gold layout at Kayak Point. Complete disappointment. When you talk about redundancy, they had 3 shot shapes really. You had your big kind of bomber holes that were all the same shape. And then you had your, just throw your turnover shot for like the the par 3s. And then they had the worst designed wooded course or wooded holes I've ever seen. Those are the 3 type of shots at Kayak Gold. And I think Meadows is just hands down better than it. Unfortunately, there is some negativity swirling around Hornings. So that is kind of the downside of that one right now. And there's people that are not wanting to support Hornings hideout because of that. And I get that. But
what is the negativity, if you don't mind me asking? And if you want to Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You could have just said shootings or violence, but pow, 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 pow.
Instead of bang, 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 and bang, and bang, 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 and bang.
Oh my god.
So you guys can fill in the blanks for that one.
Mm.
Kayak does have a punting course, and that's fun, but also with an 8-9-year-old, they're not going to be throwing, like a fairway in a shot, like 150 foot, 160 foot shots. They're good little putting greens, but I just think what Hornings has in all three of those courses are all unique tracks that never get stale. I think if I had to play Hornings every day, and I think we see this all the time with our West Side, Jammer listeners out there, they'll play Hornings every, 3-4 times a week, every day, and be fine and happy. But I think if you had to go to Kayak and play only that course on a weekly basis, 3 to 4 times a week, I think you'd get stale and a little bit bored out there. But that's my take. I think both have their benefits and their downside. Hornings will teach you how to control your nose angle up and down hills, hit gaps, and make big putts, and also the art of the layup. Whereas Kayak Points is going to allow you to open up your arm, start to shape discs, and just have some fun watching discs fly.
It's a pretty good description of it.
But
All right.
what about you guys? I'm just dominating it. Josh, you've been to
No.
I
both.
don't know anything about Oregon.
I have
disc
not been to
golf.
Kayak or Hornings. Hornings is one I have not been to
I've
in Oregon. Not
Well,
quite
there
yet.
you go. There's my completely biased opinion on the two.
Yeah,
I've been
I've
in a
not been to-
kayak.
He's been in a kayak, so I think Cody's opinion kind of weighs a little bit heavier than
I'm
yours.
pro kayak. I think they're fun. Canoes and rafts are also a good time. I've never disc golfed in one, but I feel like I could try. But I don't think it would. I mean, I'm not a very good disc golfer on dry land, so I can only imagine I don't have my sea legs under me. I probably would miss a lot of putts.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go. Straight from the horse's mouth.
From the mouth of babes.
We got another question, guys.
Yeah.
Top 3 courses in Oregon. This is always a favorite course or a favorite question of mine. I'll let Josh start with this one because he's in Oregon.
It's all gonna be biased, but
Oh, that's what.
That's what questions usually are, Josh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bias. Come on,
Try
man.
to put
I'm
your
gonna
biases
say-
aside.
This
Don't
is why
I'm gonna
Paige
say-
is so upset.
I'm gonna say Dexter.
Oh, it's
Dexter's-
terrible. That's a terrible take.
Dexter's. That's not your opinion.
I didn't know this was
So-
Cody's lukewarm takes. That's trash.
Yeah.
That's
So I'm gonna say
absolutely-
Dexter, Milo, and then Serene.
The Byron Buxton
Talk about
disc
just
golf
being
course of
Eugene
Alden-
based and then height
Yeah.
based.
Okay, first of all, no one has been to Milo and been like, "Oh, this is a shitty course."
Yeah, like that's definitely in my top 3. I think that's the obviously Once Upon a Time was top 5 in U-Disc in the world. Like I don't think anyone's gonna take Milo away. I'm talking about Serena and Dexter just being completely Eugene centric and biased, and I'll have to disagree with
Sure.
that. They're good courses. Top 3 in Oregon? I don't think so. I think obviously Milo is the easy pick, and it's not even close. You have the full 36 holes in there. It's a different gem and altogether. But even with the gold layout now, being able to kind of make the 27 hole a little bit viable, that's also fun. Enough's been said about Milo. I think my other take is Whistler's Bend. I think Whistler's Bend is an absolute dream. They
That
got
was a
new
close one for me.
baskets, which was like the baskets were kind of outdated, so getting a new basket. So shout out to Resistance Disc, Jeff Corns, and Scott Withers in order to get that make that happen. But Whistler's Bend is going to be always one of my top 3 courses. And then my surprise pick, not to a lot of people that know me, but I think Trojan. I think Trojan is definitely up
Trojan?
there. Absolutely, I think
As a
Trojan
top
is
3 course.
I think Trojan's a
I
top
don't
3
know about
course.
that.
You have the scenic, you have the views, you have the danger, the difficulty, and
the
then
danger.
also
What is
There's
the
danger.
Watch
And then
for the
also-
danger.
you just have fun golf to be had that challenges
Jeez.
like all levels. I just think Trojan is a completely underrated course because people get scared of losing their disc in water. But I
Weren't,
think
you,
if
weren't you the guy that lost like $800 worth of discs there in a weekend?
I,
Yeah, that makes me
yep.
never want to play there in my life, and I've never
just
even
don't take
heard of the
expensive
place.
discs. Or
I
get
don't.
good.
Danger.
Or
Oh,
get
so
good.
you're not good?
I'm not good. I'm
Oh,
not.
Okay,
I
that's
am
all I wanted to hear.
trash at disc golf.
That's all we're talking
Um,
about. The podcast is over. Paige has admitted his shortcomings. Shut it down.
Yeah.
Page.
No,
Down in Roseburg at Whistler's Bend, when you get to the basket, that's like on the edge of the cliff to the river?
Yeah, the like
What do you-
three,
what-
like 81.
Yeah, but to a drop off like
Yeah.
15 feet
I
behind it.
lost Imperial Eagle 1 off the cliff. I went to lay up, caught like air, and rode right into the water.
Yeah. What's your go-to
I'm
shot
trying
at
to
it?
Just imagine this.
I do too. So if there's no wind, I kind of like to take a praxis straight at it,
Mhm.
and try to not stand it up, just try to crash it into those bushes to the left of it. That'll give you about a 25, 30-foot putt. But my favorite shot is the high hyzer over everything and trying to crash into those same bushes.
You don't just go for it.
Ace run? No. Why am I going to lose my disc? I got a tournament
So
to play.
wait,
High
why
risk, high
wouldn't you go
reward.
for it?
Huh? I go for the
High-
birdie. I go for a 30-foot putt for the birdie instead
No.
of trying to park it where if you don't land it, you got to like park it like you got to land 150 short and then scoot up.
A
Yeah.
real man would park it.
Yeah.
So
And that's why Whistler's Bend kicks my ass every single time. And I think for
Mhm.
me, like when I look at courses, I like to be humbled in a course, right? Josh is saying he likes to go to Dexter because he likes to score birdies, and that's good for him. But me, I like to be challenged.
that's good for him.
I like
Well,
Dexter.
Trojan
'cause
is not the
Dexter-
most overhyped course. We have
It is too. Yes, it
we have
is.
one tournament there a year that's
agree.
worth any salt, and that's Gem
100%.
Jellyfish.
The course is
Wow.
cool. The
I
course
think
is
it's
cool.
completely underrated.
I think it's overrated. It's a cool course though.
I
It
think-
sounds overrated.
It's all right.
Even
All right.
is it Anders or Onder? Onder Wake?
It's
No?
it's Ander. It's Ander.
Is it Ander?
Yeah,
Well,
we
just
were
because
actually. I played
if
with
you
him
watch,
today. I
Okay,
played
if
with
you
him
watch
today.
Ooh,
Like
okay.
I
he
watch
gets the
Workaholics.
workaholics. He
Yeah.
gives the eye rolls like crazy.
Dude, Anders Holmvik, he's my boy. I
New
love
New
Wilder.
Wilder's guard. Oh, that's Tai.
No.
Tai, get out of here.
But Wilder is a good course though. That's a
It's new
solid.
Wilder, not old Wilder. It's new Wilder.
Why is it
What's
new?
the difference?
Yeah,
One's old, one's new. Simple.
Same
Hmm.
course though.
No,
it's science,
one's
Josh.
updated too.
I'm fucking confused.
Look at the difference of Alton Baker and the Oregon disc golf
Wait, what's
course.
Alton
Hmm.
Alton Baker?
different
I've never heard of
courses.
that. Is it like
So-
Alton Baker's?
So it's the same course, just updated. So when I go, like when I went and played Wilder 2 weeks ago, that's the new
old
Wilder.
Shit. That's the old shit.
What the?
It's the new.
That's old.
Well, whatever version of Wilder I played, I gotta agree. It's a good one.
Oh, Cole Radall said it himself. It's top 3 course. Yeah.
Who cares about?
Oh my-
Colin?
Paige he's so nice tonight. Paige, let's talk about your disc that you threw this week.
All right, way to cue us up.
let's
Hashtag
talk-
all day presents with slinging discs. We're going to talk about the Guava.
Who's
This is
that?
a Clash Discs mid range, straight to
Guava.
overstable finish. Think MD4 reactor. Trying to get a feel for it here. Kind of like the Flight, but like most discs, it can't go through trees. That's the downside of it. Here, I wanted to kind of flex it out a little bit, flat to Annie, and see what it can do. I went like 60 long with the basket, but I thought it was a good little shape to kind of just stretch it out where you're trying to shape it through some of the woods. Sam Benson, y'all, Bazooka Benson, he likes to be known as. Here, he's crushing it. He gets a hold of him better than me. And you can see why. It really starts to shape. You can hammer into them pretty nicely, and they're always going to be overstable finishes.
I'll say it didn't flip up at all, really. Maybe a little
No. And here, I was throwing the Color Glow Guavas, which are complete trash. Don't buy them. This
gosh.
runs better. So I threw it a little bit low. This is my first throw with this run. But the Color Glow is a little bit straighter, a little bit less torque resistance. But this flat kind of proto run is, I think, absolutely money if you're trying to look for this kind of disc. Here's Arturo throwing it at Blue Lake. And then this is a shot that I think they're absolutely made for.
bit. Dude, that vest
so
is legit.
vest and disc golf go hand in hand. And so you just boom. And you can start to see it, right? You put it flat to Annie, challenge the right side tree, but it just held
Damn,
straight.
Sam.
And then
What
just
a
finish.
shot.
So pause it here.
Working on it.
So
He's a grown man.
So for the guava, for me, it was worth the wait. I think I watched Scott Withers throw it at ORGGC quite a bit, Jam and Jellyfish, and it's a disc that I was really wanting and waiting for. But for me, what I'm starting to realize, like when I start to get to tournament golf, when I get nervous, I overpower discs. And when I'm realizing with clash discs and clash mid ranges, they don't like extra torque, off angle torque. They get kind of bullied. And I'm not saying it's a good habit of mine. It's definitely a bad habit. When you throw them correctly, they're great discs. But when in a tournament with some pressure on you and you need to get that upshot, I went to go for it last weekend and ended up taking it out of my bag after it because I couldn't trust it. And funny enough, I ended up replacing it with this Neutron reactor with a Justin Bilodeau stamp, which
dude, those are legit looking stamps too.
Yeah,
I like
it's a
those
great run of
stamps.
them, and it's kind of what I've been looking for in my mid range. And
How
so,
would you compare that mid range to a glow reactor?
oh, it's better. It's glow reactors are trash to it. These have more glides, are a little bit straighter with that still overstable. But
The
that's
Guava does,
yeah.
but
So
not color glow. So don't get the color glow.
don't get the color glow. The color glow ones are straighter. They're like less stable than a berry. I don't think they were a good run. They're also weirdly domey and they match the rim
Ugh.
and come in. Somebody called them a mid-range dart, and I was like, that's exactly what they are. So I didn't like them at all. These ones were flat. They felt really good. The plastic felt really good and consistent. You can hammer on them. And for most people, like I said, it's going to be that reactor, that MD4. I'm just realizing it's not for me. That doesn't mean it's a bad disc. I think this run is really good. And if you can get your hands on them for under $30, they're definitely worth it. And they're definitely glidey. And so I did a little ask, but I have 3 clips, guys. I wanted to show you the Spore. So the Spore is like a lot of discs, the Glitch, the Polecat, the Sonics, this kind of catch disc. So I wanted to see what they're about, right?
You got to
So go
use
ahead.
one.
I do have a used one. You can have this one. Go ahead and put play or push play, Josh. So like a lot of these catch discs, you can't overpower them because they go right.
Damn.
No torque, no power. Here I am trying to make a slight adjustment off that where I kind of smooth out my throw just a little bit, slow it down, but it still wants to go right. So off the tee, I don't like them. But if this is kind of your game, this is where I think they shine. If you're going for upshots, stand still, they're glidey, point and shoot kind of discs that I don't absolutely hate. For me, it's about trusting the disc, and because of those first 2 throws, I don't trust it. But because of this last throw, I do think they're good discs if that's your style of playing. If you like the feel, I think this one out of all of those discs feel more like a disc golf disc to me. They just feel like a deeper link. If you've ever felt the link, some of those vapor links. So they felt like that. Point and shoot, good catch disc. I think they're a little bit glidier than the Glitch to me and a little bit more stable than the Glitch.
I'll say everything I've heard was that it's a little bit more stable than a Glitch and you get a little bit more glide. So you saw that when you threw it?
Yep. That's exactly what I saw. And I think they're good. And that's why, like, I think so. Actually, I did those videos in reverse. So my standstill was my first throw with it, which is what I liked. So then because of the stability on it, which surprised me, I thought I can put more torque into them, but that completely overpowered that, right? It's got to be a slow, standstill, smooth throw, and it's going to kind of gravitate towards the basket every single time. So I know I wanted to do one or the other with Guava or Spore, but after throwing the Spore 3 or 4 times, my mind was made up about it and I didn't need to throw it anymore. Whereas the Guava probably took me 2 to 3 weeks of really kind of dissecting and figuring out for myself with, is it a good disc or is it a bad disc? And I think it's good, but get the right run because those color glow runs were, pretty awful.
So do you think it will have a spot in your bag or no?
No, because those reactors got here, and that's exactly what I wanted. Because I got nervous, and I put the torque into them, and they still hold straight, but they'll hold straight longer. Whereas the Guava gets that rightward drift, and then it remembers as a Guava and dumps.
Okay.
So if I get nervous with the reactor, I'll be looking at a 30 to 40 foot putt rather than a park job. Whereas with the Guava, I'm looking at a 50 to 60 foot putt. And in open fields, that's kind of negligible. But when you're in the woods, that 50 to 60 is usually going to hit a tree. The 30 to 40 is usually going to get through the gap. And so that's how I look at it through my eyes. I think it's worth pursuing. Like Sam's absolutely shredding with them. They were exactly what he wanted. He's a big mango thrower. And he wanted a little bit straighter mango, and that's the Guava. And then when he backs off the Guava, he's going berry. I think if that's your kind of game, the Guava is going to fit that really well. I'm starting to realize, like I said, the downside of some of those Clash mid-ranges for me aren't for me. And so I'm probably not going to be touching another Clash mid-range like for now moving forward.
So if you like class mid ranges, this has a spot in the bag.
Yep.
Hmm.
If you've been
Fair enough.
experimenting with the Clash, if you like the plastic, and I think people know, right? Like, I think they're going to come out with what is it, the Sunny? The Sunny is going to be more stable than whatever the other plastic's called. Whatever the Tour Series plastic is, I think is going to be more stable than whatever the baseline plastic is. So that's
don't know.
my little sweet Pages
Little
Jammers.
sweet take. Yeah, love it. All right, Cody, what you got for us tonight?
I mean, always the worst takes in the world.
We got
as
cold takes with Cody.
cold takes, sponsored by Soul.
Cold takes with Cody.
I just want to change it to Cody's commentary. I mean, just because my takes. I'm not a hot take type of person. I'm not like a confrontational.
He's a very conservative guy. All right,
I'm just
guys?
like, yeah. I'm
he
just
likes
like,
to keep these opinions just small, compact, but ultimately he wants to make these takes great again. So let's listen here.
All right. So my mediocre take for the day is that local pros do more for brick and mortar shops than manufacturers do.
Say it again, Cody.
So
Run it back.
Cody's Code Takes, sponsored by Dry Ice. Okay, all right, I'll take that. Wow, they can't even say who did it. Like, it's just, you're just gonna do me like that and not say anything.
No, it's
But,
good stuff. It's good stuff.
That local pros do more for disc golf brick and mortar stores. Like, so think of your local shop than manufacturers do.
How so?
So think about it this way. Every brick and mortar shop that I've ever gone to is always like, it was so hard for me to get so and so like disc from here. Like, I'm trying to order from Innova, it's taking forever. I'm trying to do this and that. Where you're getting these local pros, like I think of Gavin Rathbun, who we've had on here before, is big into Idlewild. Like, I have disc with his stamp on it, with their stamp on it. He's pushing their stuff. He's doing things for that brick and mortar store, and he's posting about him. He's saying things about him. Think about Paige. I wouldn't call him a local pro, mediocre local dude. Paige for All Day Disc Golf. Think about all he's doing for them. When does Innova, when does Dynamic Discraft, anyone call out or say like, hey, we're so happy that All Day Disc Golf is selling our products. We're so happy that this is doing everything for us. When all these local pros, usually they're getting sponsorship. So it's kind of like a symbiotic relationship, but you're going to get more from them than you are from the person that is going to give you the disc. You would think that these big companies would be like, how can we help you out? What can we do to increase sales? Because if we're increasing your sales, that means we're increasing our sales. If we're making it easy for us, if we're making it easy for you to get our product in there, hey, with your inventory this week, what disc is selling out great that we can get you more? When it's usually a fight for them. Like, anytime I go to a store, hot disc, they're like, we're sold out. We only got 3 and we can't get another one for months. It just seems like you're kind of, it's just kind of hurting the people that should be helping you.
So when you went in somewhere like on a new disc and they only got 3, like in like what brand?
So, like even with the Pixels coming out, so the one store that I went to that has them, he only got like 8 of them. He got 8 of those, and then he got like 6 of the Eagles. And I was like, so what colors you got? He didn't have a whole lot of color selection. What do you have for this? And I'm not saying that it's like that across the board, because he's like a bike store that sells disc golf on the side. Like, I went there today and, he was able to hook me up, but still at the same time, I was like, hey, do you have any more soft? He's like, I only have these 2 soft. I was like, oh, so there's like, you couldn't get more. He's like, no, this is all they sent me, and I don't know when I'm getting more. So,
and I will say too, like, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, where like for local pros that are pushing, like I just saw Gavin Rathbun post about, I'm just using him because I saw that references recently, but you see all these pros like, hey man, come out to Idlewild. I'll be there. Come check out this plastic. And people are going to be like, yeah, hey, my local pro is going to be there. I know Gavin Rathbun. I saw him on TV. Why wouldn't I want to go check it out? Maybe, ask him some questions.
What makes a local pro? Rating, content, presence?
I would say it could be either all of those, some of those, because you do like I guess our local pro is the guy, Brad Lescalite. He's an Innova local pro, and he's been like he was on Battle for Bedford. He played against Macbeth. He's Innova sponsored, but he's the guy that's always pushing. Like one of our local places is Central PA Disc Golf. He makes sure all of our payouts for leagues and tournaments go through him. So he's making sure he's giving this company business. Hey, we're going to pay in our fees. All the payouts come through this guy. He's going to come to our events, buy some discs from him. Boom. Where I've never heard Innova or anyone say like, "Hey, check out Central PA." Now, of course, that'd be difficult on such a grand level, but it's just something that you notice.
So I'll take it one step further too, with your take. So
Get it?
pros do more for brick and mortars than manufacturers. And I also think then manufacturers do more for individual sellers and resellers than they do for brick and mortars in supporting that. And I think the way that we do this, I think we look at Latitude when Tatar won the little, gambit, right? The trifecta, the triple crown, whatever it was called, right? They won all of the majors. What did they do? They released on their stores very limited quantities only online, and they limited it to all of the online sales before they even opened it up to brick and mortars. Brick and mortar had no idea when they're going to open it. They didn't communicate to brick and mortar stores, letting them know that, hey, wait a week and then we'll get it out to you. So not only are they prioritizing them as a manufacturer and their sales, they're actually supporting buyers and flippers because you're encouraging them to bulk up before the brick and mortars even have a chance. And what this does to the brick and mortars is by the time that brick and mortars actually get the inventory, the mind has made up about this disc. The hype has died down, and the mind, if this is a good disc or bad disc, is made up before you have access to it at a brick and mortar. And what that does is allow the brick and mortars to buy a bigger quantity than maybe they would because they finally get a chance at them, which allows the manufacturer to dump these discs. But then a lot of times the brick and mortar are sitting on these discs for longer. When's the last time you went into a store and saw the world champion Grace? Or not Grace, what's the Claymore? The Claymore. How many of those do you still see on your local brick and mortars right now? And so it hurts them. And so either they're sitting on a surplus of inventory that they can't move because everybody that was excited about them made up their mind before them, or like the envies, right? You have pixels. The pixels won't release for 2 days. If you come out here and tell everybody that the pixels are absolute trash, how many people do you have influence over? We have 700 to 1,000 listeners on our Jammers in the Rough. And with that, we have a slight influence whether you might purchase this or not. And we got it beforehand. But if a brick and mortar has 100 of them, right? They somehow got the inventory, and everybody's coming out and bashing them, like the Clash discs with the overmolds. When that came out before the brick and mortars had them, and they were like, these aren't tested, these are bad, they come breaking apart. All of the brick and mortars now had to sit on the overmolds that they got because nobody wanted to buy a Clash mint with the overmold, or the Wild Honey because they were $40 discs and they were bashed online. And so, me extending on that take, manufacturers do more for the collectors and the flippers than they do for brick and mortar. And back to Cody's original point, I think pros do more because when a pro stops in town, they're the ones that are drawing connections, right? Huck Lab will be like, hey, Eagle, do you want to come over here and do a signing? And they'll work with the player or their agency in order to do that, not the sponsorship. The sponsorship gets to ride the coattails for free because they sponsor the player, and they're usually going to be Discmania discs in that situation. But, a lot of times they're not actually going and supporting them. If Prodigy isn't moving or Discraft isn't moving their product, are they reaching out to the brick and mortars and be like, hey, send us back that box. Sorry, they're not selling. Let's get you some that are going to sell. No, they're happy to unload them, and they unload stuff that are way out of date, way out of season with zero absolute hype. Hey, here's 20 Reapers that nobody wants to buy anymore because you got the Athena and the Cicada. So buy these Reapers from us because this is what you're going to get. Ledgestone. You have to buy into the full year of Ledgestone subscription as a brick and mortar. You can't pick and choose. AGL, you can't buy the one player that you want to support. We're Northwest. Scott just got on there, right? You can't just buy Scott's disc. You have to buy all of the AGL stuff and hold all of their product. Well, that stuff's not going to move. Why are you going to take a big chunk from these brick and mortars when you should be finding different ways to support them and help them be successful because they're the direct connection to the community and the people?
What didn't
Love it. Love it.
Discmania do this a couple years ago with Cloudbreakers, where the online retailers got like a certain color of Cloudbreaker? I feel like that they did that a couple years ago.
They did
One
that
of
with the
I don't-
essence.
Was
So
that-
it was like the neoplastic. So Discmania got a lot of trouble. Not trouble. They got a lot of flack because blue was desirable, but pinks and yellows weren't. And so brick and mortars were getting the allotment from Discmania, and sometimes it'd be all yellow, which is the stuff that can't move. And all of the blue were being either, and it's probably, whether it's randomized or not, but all of the blue wasn't landing on the store shelves. And so then what you saw was a surplus of yellow and pink discs on shelves that nobody can move, because at the time nobody was buying the Evolution line, because why buy an Instinct when you can buy a FD2? That whole kind of battle. Why buy a DD3 or Enigma when you can buy an Echo DD3? Though they're good discs, and they've always been good discs, but
there was
on the same note, just real quick,
too.
on the same note with like Discmania, at a certain point back, like when I was selling online with Discmania, the brick and mortars, they spoke up. Discmania has a place for them to come and express their concerns. And what Discmania did at that point was they were started to do releases that were only brick and mortar releases of special discs. I'm not sure if they still do that. I know that's something they did do to kind of combat that issue that was happening a while back in like the Innova molded days. We're still around. And I guess Evolution was started up as well.
No, and
but yeah, it's just weird. Like I remember they did the Cloudbreaker one where like there was a variant foil where people were like, "Oh, let's get that." And same thing with variants with MVP. Like the people were buying them and then just flipping them for ridiculous amounts when brick and mortars were getting none of that. But digress. Hot take, check out Soul Crusher. Manny's coming next week.
No, and I think that's one of those good things too. Like I think Manny has done with the Soul Crusher site a good way of promoting the player and not necessarily the discs, the manufacturer. A lot of his proceeds, he did custom run shirts for some of these touring pros that went directly to them, and so he was finding different ways to support them through his art. And I think that's a creative way to do that. And I think when you go into the stores, like Tour Series stuff is always going to sell before any of the stock stuff. And I think there's a reason why. And I think manufacturers also kind of gatekeep a lot of that Tour Series stuff, and kind of limit some of the sales, unless then they try to unload. Like I think the Sexy Birds, right? Like they duped people and thinking there's going to be one run, and then they did like six runs. And
I was so
it's one of my
favorite.
It's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
But what did that do for like some of the brick and mortars? It makes some of the brick and mortars look bad when they only have 10, and they make people show up at 6 a.m. to try to buy those 10. And then a month later they do another run. A month later they do another run. And I don't think that should be, as widely gatekept, especially if you're going to have the online sale. I know not everybody has access to a brick and mortar, and that's fine. So I still think you should be doing that, but doing it all at once rather than this kind of trickle effect. And then also, how do you hold some of these stores accountable, right? Like we talked about the Envy and the Praxis. How many people got early access to them a week and a half ahead of time? And what are the manufacturers doing to those brick and mortars and those sellers in order to stop that? Because I don't think that's okay either. But if that's happening more and more, that's kind of the only thing that's left for some of these brick and mortars to battle back, is to get some of that early release of these discs out there. Because if the mind made up and it moves away from it, then they have a box full of discs that they can't sell.
That's why I got Pixels here, $70 each. Buy them here, Jammers, week early. See it here.
When's like the official release of like the
16th,
disc?
like 2 days.
16th,
People
2 days.
trying like flipping them online, and they're like, "Why? I'll just wait 2 days." Like, same thing. I'm just gonna throw these and see if they work anyway. I'm like, all right.
I mean, I'll give you the hot take right now. The Pixels are good discs.
Dude, you ever see this? The Overmold and this are the exact same color.
Yeah, I like those. Those are my favorite. They started doing them more and more. They look like real discs.
Like real discs. Because
I'm a real boy.
Dude,
this one was
so it's 2 days until that comes out. So
2? How's that 2?
2?
His thumb don't
My
work.
thumb doesn't count. My thumb doesn't count. That doesn't count.
That's
It's
not
just
a.
natural.
It's not a
I'm
finger. it's a
always
thumb.
giving thumbs up to everyone because they deserve it. So I count with 4 fingers. So I can always give you a thumbs up.
So dumb.
or
It's
thumbs
math.
down because he hates you.
Yeah, right. It's 2. But speaking of that disc coming out, so that's like 2 days. 2 days from now. So you got 2 days left on our Jammers in the Rough Facebook page to just sign up and into the drawing for one of Eagle's
Are we
new
doing a
discs.
giveaway on our
Envies.
page?
Yeah,
What? Since when?
since they announced them. It's I got them through Rare Air Discs, who's also
Cody
a
off the
sponsor.
pound and onto the squatch.
Oh no! Look, I got 2
The
of them. I got to do
squanch?
a bag. I got to do a bag review.
There you
Lore
go.
versus
Back
Rufus.
comparison. There you go.
Mm.
But Rare Air
Rufus
Discs
wins.
is one of our sponsors, and
Hey, we're
if
talking over
you
here
want
about
to
his
save
bags.
10% off your order, use discount code Jammers. Yeah, Rare Air Discs is a good online reseller. Rare Discs, new discs.
This all got a
pre-order
huge
disc.
shipment of discs. They have like 170 pages of rare discs, so that's kind of cool.
It's crazy. Like some of the
Dude,
stuff I
this
find on
thing's a
there.
bomb. I love this thing. My glow hex.
Also, here's a hot take: the glow plastic is the worst in MVP lineup for throwing.
You're an idiot.
All right, so what I'm gonna do? So I'm changing the name of like my little segment every week just to try out.
You
new
can't
things.
do that. I can't
I
change
did.
mine.
No,
No,
you
Yours
can.
is changed every
Watch
week,
me.
Cody.
Watch me. Yeah,
this
it's
week
true.
was
Yeah.
what was
Was it
it?
Ice Cold
Cody's
Take?
Cody's
code,
commentary.
Cody's code
Cody's
takes,
commentary.
sponsored by
Yeah.
Dry Ice.
Yeah. Now this one is called Josh's Juice. Okay, so here we go.
That's how I do not want
So
Josh's juice.
I was
at
speaking.
all.
I got a message from Glenn out in Minnesota.
Ren.
Glenn, Glen. So he reached out to me. He's a relative of my wife's, and he
My
is in
wife.
a league that he just wants to tell the world about, and they play in super cold weather. You know what? I'm gonna let him describe it. He made a video and sent it to me that I'm gonna play for y'all. So let me pull that up and I'll just let you watch it.
That's. Wait a second. Hit me with it.
Right?
Paige, what do you think about this disc? Murica.
It's a dumb disc.
I don't think
All
I've
right.
ever thrown one, but I mean it's.
Here
Yeah.
we go.
Uh-oh.
Hello, Jammers in the Rough. My name's Glenn Brushwine. I'm a distant cousin or something like that of Josh. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about disc golf in the winter in Minneapolis. And some of the guys that you're going to see today, this is a doubles that we put together on a Sunday. It wasn't a true league. Ended up with about 20 guys coming out to play. Temperature was hovering right around 0 degrees on the wind chill. It did get up to almost 20 degrees the day that you see in the footage here. But it's a hardy bunch of guys, and it's very difficult to get motivated and keep going. And I really appreciate the league directors and the enthusiasm of my fellow disc golfers. And it's for the hardiest, I believe. We have 3 pretty large leagues. They're mostly flex leagues that operate 3 to 4 days a week. Some of the leagues get 60 to 70 guys per time. The other 2 leagues get between 30 and 50. The quality of disc golf on these leagues, I think, is pretty good. If you want to win one of them, you got to probably play a better than 1,000 rated round. And that's every week. And oftentimes it's a rated round of somewhere in the 1020 to 1040 range that would take down the open division in one of these leagues. And one of the beautiful things about these leagues is we have multiple divisions, and there's usually at least 10 to 15 guys, no matter what division you are.
It is actually 0 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It's the middle of January. We're going to have more of these 0 degree days coming up. And I have to try to stay limber. I have to try to not let the 60-year-old get into all kinds of problems by becoming sedentary. I need to move. I need to get outside. Yeah, I need to get outside, and I need to get outside and play. I need to get outside and play quality disc. I need to get outside and play with friends. I need to get outside and play with young people that excite me to play with. And then the second thing is I need to get outside and play with good players. And by good players, I mean players that can fairly easily drop 1,000 rated round. And I have a number of those folks that I can get on cards. I think they're okay and happy with me getting on cards with them. And sometimes it's in a good vibes. So it's wonderful to have you here. We'll keep working on this.
So that was a pretty cool little video to show us, a little bit what Minnesota League's like. I can't
Absolutely
imagine.
miserable.
It
It looks absolutely terrible.
Hot take. That's terrible.
I think
Cold take.
I always joke about like I didn't realize like the impact of seasonal affective disorder until I started playing disc golf, and then not being able to get out for even like 2 days. I just feel like I go crazy. Let alone somewhere like that where, like he said, like you had to get motivated. You gotta get out there and want to get out there, and that's not a lot of people that have that kind of that fortitude for it. Because that looks miserable to me. I think if I lived there, I'd stop disc golfing and move south so I could start disc golfing again.
Yeah, I mean, like just a wind chill, because like I went to Jordan's family's from Minnesota, and I've went to Minnesota a couple times now, and one time in the winter-ish months, and I cannot believe how cold it can get. Just like the wind chill is actually a thing. Never knew it till I went there. I mean, I bet Jerry Ann knows all about that up in the Canadas. But it's cool to see how many people push through every single week, multiple times a week, to come out and play in that weather just because of the love of disc golf. It tells you how strong the love of disc golf is. It looks like we get -40 cold snaps. It kicks the hell out of us. We always made a point to get out there and throw disc. I mean, like I said, it just shows how much disc golf can drive people to do things. I know Glenn is working on a 3-part series to kind of go a little more in depth of the people in his league and stuff. So I'll keep you guys up to date about that. It's kind of a cool little project he's going. I post those videos, like links to them on the Jammers in the Rough page. But yeah, it's cool to see. It makes me wonder how other people's leagues around the nation, if not the world, do their stuff. It'd be cool stories to find out. Find out somebody who does it in Florida, like the humidity of Florida, and playing in that. Like, what's that like?
Miserable.
I liked his positivity though. Like when you heard him talking,
Yeah.
he was like, I do this because I need to stay active. And that's why I teach disc golf in my classes at school. I'm teaching kids, hey, find something you want to be active. Find something you can be with other people. I mean, that's some of my favorite thing about disc golf. And when he said he wanted to be on 1,000 rated round cards, that's cool. But at the same time, if you're having a good time and you can play disc golf, like you're not throwing 10 feet every time, I can have fun with you as long as your attitude's good. I think attitude to me is more important than rating. I would rather have fun with someone who, has a good time regardless than playing with 1,000 rated person who has a very terrible attitude. So like, it'd be like playing with Paige, awful. Playing with Josh,
Miserable.
probably all right.
I'm a blast.
Well,
I'm
Josh
a
is stoned
blast.
and drunk on the you can't
but
say
then I
Josh
had
is a
my-
blast when your hot take was
It's true.
against Josh.
So
You
I
can't.
just have to
Whoa!
play by
Just
myself.
because it's a hot take doesn't mean I can't do it.
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm just saying he's not gonna have fun with you because his hot take prevents it.
But
It's
I
not
did
true.
like that he found the positives in it where he said, I have to do this. And I bet if you lived there, like Paige, you said you would stop playing. I bet if that was your option, you would probably continue to play. You would.
Oh, absolutely, I would.
That's the thing.
I find a
People,
way. Like I'm in downpour rain and I'm out there playing still here in Portland, in which I'm pretty sure they'd be like, "Oh, I'll take snow and frozen like this over, just crazy ass downpour." And I get it. It's cold, and the wind chill's what gets me.
On the other side of that, though, is I don't think we get the same amount of downpours as Washington. I think they get a
We
bit
also
worse
don't
than
got.
us.
Yeah, but they also have bigger canopies than we do, so they also get into their
That's true.
trees and are protected
true.
more with their.
They get more
courses,
water.
Oh. But and it's always going to be because like Arizona probably complains about the wind that they get, the flatness that they get, and the stupid crowds that are always out there in the parks. Whereas sometimes we don't have those out here. There's always going to be downsides to playing. I think building those things. I think Portland is definitely missing a competitive league that is rated and have rated rounds. That's definitely one of the things that we're missing. And so seeing like even that happen, I think is important. And that the fact that they're still getting out there and growing disc golf, that's always cool to see, and watching it kind of be rewarded with some of these pro tours would be something special to see as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
But-
that's like there was a story where these three gentlemen have met every Sunday for like 600 weeks and something like that, and they were called the Sunday Drivers. Whether it was 10 inches of snow, downpour, they were meeting every Sunday, and it kind of becomes that like tradition. It becomes that support group. You're probably some of your closest friends where you're making sure every weekend you're doing something over and over again.
Well, also like think about it this way too. Like, what did we have last week in the Super Bowl? And I was, I made a stop by all day, and I was talking to Jesse there, and I was telling him like, I was getting done with Pier Park when the game was already started, and I was telling him I was like, or no, I finished a tournament. And then I was going to say that, but I was telling him I was like, I quit watching the Super Bowl when I really started playing disc golf because to spend 4 hours sitting in front of a TV when I could be out there playing, I'd rather make that choice every day. To be out there playing, whether it's alone or with people, it doesn't matter, because that's going to be better for my mental health than, watching an overtime of, who the fuck cares between the Chiefs and the Niners. Both bad teams.
They are both bad teams, but
I think all
football
of
is
America
fun to
did not
watch.
care. Nobody cared about that game.
Yeah.
I
But,
cared.
like,
I had some wagers on it. I cared a lot.
did you win?
Okay, that's called
I only
gambling, and that's
Yeah, gambling
But-
can be fun.
I do
especially
want to
on Super
pull it
Bowl.
back though. We do have a question in regards to what are our top picks for top 3 pros that don't tour. I got some spicy
What
ones.
we got here? Where we go? We're going to go back. Let's see.
Cody. Boom.
That
I'm
don't
done.
tour. This one.
Yep.
Oh, that's the answer. Dun, dun,
No, that's their
dun.
answer. It's right underneath that.
Yeah,
that's their
that's-
answer.
I would have to
Okay.
look up because I'm honestly not quite sure
So-
about.
So for me, my top 3 pros that don't tour might surprise some people. It's Axel Olsen, Colin Bryant, and Dallas Garber.
I knew
think
you were
these-
going to say Dallas.
Oh,
He
absolutely. I think
carried
these
you to
are-
a win this weekend.
Dexter
You didn't do
Park,
anything.
Serene.
Hey,
I think-
Trojans
I just
the
think-
best.
For me, the way I look at it, like I understand people want to be like, look at this 10-20 rated pro that doesn't play and doesn't tour, or doesn't tour but he plays and he shreds. That's cool. I look to the future. I think these guys, these 3 kids that are 15, 16 years old, they're all over 1,000 rated. They all have a future in this sport, and they're not touring right now. They're taking school seriously. They're not being homeschooled and going on tour. But I think this is the future. So those 3 names, Axel Olsen, Colin Bryant, Dallas Garber, get used to hearing them because I think they're the top 3 pros that are going to make a big impact. What is it? Axel won, was it Junior Worlds last year?
No idea. Never heard of him.
Anyways, but yeah, amateur disc golf world championships. That's Axel Olsen. Colin Bryant won worlds, amateur worlds, and then Dallas came in a healthy 80th at those tournaments. But I think these are our future, and I think you heard it first, but I think they're the 3 best non-touring pros. And when and if they decide to tour, I think they're going to make big splashes really quickly, kind of like Cole Redolin, where it's like, 2 years on tour and he's already won one, and now he's a household name. He's a top 10 pro. So I think those 3 are my picks.
Okay. It's hard because because you play MPO, like that's the division you play in, so you get to
Hanging out with kids all the time.
hang out with children all the time that can throw further than you. But
That
no,
sounds
not
weird.
not like that. But you're just around them more. Where us people who play like MA2, maybe MA1, like it's hard to give names of people who play MPO that aren't touring. For me, I mean Dallas. I know Dallas. Dallas is a good kid, and I think he'd be really good on tour. I mean, have you seen that boy throw?
Not in person.
All right, what's your picks, Cody? Since you're so judgmental of
I
mine.
wouldn't know. Have the top 3 people? I don't know. I don't know them because they're not on tour. I mean, Paige
See,
plays
Paige?
with like 2 of these people, so I can like 2 of his 3 picks he knows personally.
I played with all 3 of them, but
3
I
of
don't
them.
know. I wouldn't say I know him personally. I know Dallas personally.
And he's pretty sketchy.
I was in
from
a
what I've heard.
6-way doubles playoff with the other 2, but all I was referred to as, "Hey, you're the one that played with Dallas, the Dubs, right?" That's all I get referred
You're
to.
the old
as.
guy that plays.
I'm the
around
old
with
guy, right?
Dallas. Yeah, exactly. No, I guess I would have to agree with Paige because I wouldn't know enough about these up and comers in Oregon because I'm on the East Coast.
Well, who do you got in the East Coast?
Nobody.
Yeah,
Nobody.
East Coast is dead.
Yeah, we got
I
nobody.
do like this question though. Cole versus Gannon. Who will be more successful? There's
Cole
some opinions for
Redolin
you.
or Gannon Burr?
Yep.
I think, are we talking more successful in wins, in
So that's why I like
sales?
this question. I think we have a good old healthy Ricky versus Paul conundrum here,
Hmm.
right? It's hard to say who's more successful. Yes, one has more world championships, but we've also acknowledged that world championship is kind of a diluted statement, and it's growing to get there. Don't get me wrong, but one has more Player of the Year PDGA points championships, and so you start to kind of weigh some of those things out. And I think Gannon is going to be the probably the more major winners, but I think Cole's going to find ways to kind of sneak out some more of these like Tour Series wins in the long run, and I think make a more lasting, consistent impact on tour. Whereas Gannon is going to pop off in big ways, and always be in contention, but maybe not necessarily always converting. So I do think how you define success is going to be imperative in deciding who's more successful. But I think we have a good old healthy rivalry brewing, and I think they're good friends. So there's also that aspect of it where it's like you're not going to have the Paul versus Ricky rivalry. It's going to be like, hey, look at these guys, doing videos together and then out there beating each other.
I think more of the common household name, maybe better sales would be Gannon.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
because he was the one that was like, where's Gannon gonna go? No one was really like, where's Cole gonna end up? I mean, granted, that was different, but
and he
I
signed
feel like,
relatively early.
yeah, and he was DGA, and that didn't get a lot of fanfare. Where you have like the Discmaniacs, where they're like, "Are we getting Gannon? Where's he going to be?" So I think, as far as that's concerned, I would say Gannon has the up on that. And I always think of Cole Redon as a good putter, but if you look at Gannon's like putting stats, he's quite good as well. So I think they will go back and forth.
I think we're
If
going to
you
see a healthy dip in Gannon this year because of the transition. And I think Cole's going to splash in a big way. And I think that's going to, right now, there's a gap, right? Gannon is obviously the better player with more accolades. I think Cole bridges that gap a lot this year while Gannon struggles with Discmania Plastic and making that commitment to it. But I do think Sales Discmania just has a powerhouse of kids. They also have the amazing art by Manny Trujillo. I know.
Yeah, right now, it's hard to pick who I think is be more successful. I think they're both being very successful personally. I think Cole has this certain calmness about him, and Gannon has this like wily, I'm gonna try some crazy Simon lines to him. Like, I think as popularity goes, I think that Gannon might overtake him at some point if he continues to do those things that are like crowd pleasers, like doing things that make Mandos come about the second round, stuff like that. But one thing, it's funny you brought up Cole Redolin. I was reserving a campsite down at Whistler's Bend in Oregon, and I was just trying to find like a picture of one of the sites. And so I went on the Facebook page, and I was like scrolling through, and I got pretty far back, and this picture popped up that the state park like posted, and guess who's in the photo? Little
Cole
Cole
Redolin?
Redolin, little
Hey, little
Cole,
Cole.
little Cole.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny. And he's holding
Yeah.
a disc in his hand. What's he got? What is that? Looks like an Innova
Oh.
disc.
Let's see.
XD. No.
That's really.
Hey.
Innova. I think it's Innova.
Check where you zoom in on these kids. I'm just saying.
Oh,
Oh
shit.
my
This is a
gosh,
family
Paige,
show,
don't make
Cody,
this
or
weird.
Josh.
Anyways, it was really funny to just like come across an old picture of Cole. Yeah, it was funny.
I'm a man.
But I think
I
that's a
thi-
good question that we can continue to check in on a yearly basis.
I don't think it will be solved this year. Just like
Oh,
you've had that battle, but like you said, Paul versus Ricky, or I almost feel like this is like a Simon almost Eagle type thing, where
probably a good comparison.
Simon and Gannon to me are the same vein. Where it's like, think about Simon when he was like, "Hey, I'm going to throw this disc 500 feet, 200 feet out of bounds, but I'm going to play the smart par over the Mando." Same thing when
Mhm.
Gannon Burr was like, "I'm just going to tee off sideways and go this way," and where I feel like Cole is more reserved, and I feel like Eagle is kind of more reserved, at least just from what I've watched in person. Who knows? They might both be silly dudes.
No, I think Simon and Eagle is a good comparison because they have those friendships, those videos together, And for a while, Eagle was dominating until these last 2 years, where Simon just completely took off. And I know Eagle has a major in there, and that's definitely a strike against Simon. But Simon's like 7 PDGA or like tour wins of these last 2 years, and not even playing full swings, and he's making it fun and accessible.
Let's make disc golf fun again.
But we are reaching the top of the hour, everyone. So I do want to thank you all for chiming in. Questions definitely make Jammers episodes go a little bit quicker, and they catch us a little bit more off guard. Case in point, Cody and Josh have no idea who any of the pros that are on tour are. Me, I just know who the kids are, I guess. So with that,
That's weird.
next week, Manny Trujillo is going to join us again for his artist collaborations. We spoiled some things last time that we kind of swept under the rug. So if you like spoilers, come check us out next week and you'll see some amazing art. Otherwise, keep jamming it in the rough.
It's the
We out
Bachelor.
this
You
bee.
both get a rose.